This episode of Experiences You Should Have is brought to you by Soul Blends, handcrafted in Oregon from botanicals to bottle, multiple healing balms, salves, and moisturizing products to bring life to your skin. Check out Soul Blends and use the code EYSH to receive 10% off your order.
Because the entrance and the exits of Dream Gates, whenever we still have the lights, are just like hypnotizing. You hover diver's nose and you can spend like 7 minutes, 8 minutes with just looking at the exit. And you don't want to exit, that's it.
Welcome to Experiences You Should Have, your how-to guide for amazing experiences. I'm your host, Gail Manasco, and today we are diving in one of my favorite places. We are going to the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. This episode is all about diving the cenotes. Now, for you non-divers out there are plenty of cenotes for you to snorkel, and we do talk about that as well. So continue to listen on. And I got to experience this incredible trip to Mexico. Maybe this was about 5-ish years ago. So it's been a while. The cenotes are calling my name. And I went with a group of friends. It was the first time I left my daughter after she was born. Right after I weaned her, I went on this trip for a week, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. And I don't know, there's something about just taking a break from regular life and experiencing something otherworldly that can, it can show you a new experience. It can help you reset, gain new perspective, and help you be a better person even when you come back to that real life. Or you can do what Aiden Dink did, and you could just stay and enjoy these cenotes all the time. So I've only been there a few times. However, Aiden is also known as the cenote guy, and he came on the podcast to talk about this amazing experience of diving the cenotes. I mean, just imagine year-round 75-degree water, beautiful light rays coming into these incredible caverns, the darkness mixed with the light rays, and stalactites, stalagmites, your flashlight turning on, and exploring a whole new world underground. It is stunning. This is absolutely a stunning experience. I am just so excited to have Aiden here on this show today. Now, Aiden, he was born in Turkey, but he was raised in Paris, France, and he was an industrial engineer. He was working in Paris, but then he discovered diving the cenotes, and it changed him. And now he is the cenote guy. This is who you want to book to take you on a private diving experience in the Yucatan Peninsula. He's a PADI dive instructor. He's a full cave diver. Now, most divers who come to the cenotes, they're not diving the cave system. They're essentially doing cavern diving. And Aiden does talk about that. So it's very different from being just full on doing cave dives. You are doing cavern diving. And it's just a stunning, stunning experience. I'll make sure to include a video on the show notes as well as everything we talked about today and more on experiencesyousshouldhave.com. Me and a girlfriend, Sarah, even put on mermaid tails and we fenced underwater in one of the cenotes. And that's when we ended up doing a whale shark trip right after to Isla Mujeres and got to free dive with the whale sharks as mermaids. But that is a different experience. Just wait for that one. But today we're going underground with the cenote guy. And please check out his website, book him. His site is thecenoteguy.com. All right, write that down, thecenoteguy.com. Well, let's get on to the interview. Well, welcome, Aiden, to Experiences You Should Have podcasts. It's so exciting to have you here today.
Thank you very much. I'm excited too, really excited.
I think this is one of my top favorite experiences in the world, diving the cenotes. It is such an awe-inspiring experience. And I only spent a few days there, and you've been diving the cenotes for a long time. Can you tell our listeners a little bit more about the experience of diving the cenotes as well as your experience?
Mm-hmm. Of course. Let me, if you want, I can explain how I got stuck and how I got the bug with the cenotes. I came here in 2016, the first time in my life in Mexico, and I was not a professional diver. I was just here for vacation, and I was not even knowing about the cenotes. Cenotes was something very, very new for me, and then we decided to dive with a couple of friends. And then, after having done like 6 dives, I've noticed that I was at the wrong place at the wrong moment, and being in Paris was nonsense for me. I decided during the 6th dive that I was not at my place. Mm-hmm. The 6th dive for me have been very, very amazing, very, very surprising. And I was 38 back in time, and I've experienced things that I've never felt, that I've never even think about, like the feeling of flying, the feeling of discovering new things. And that was completely something new for me. When I got back to Paris, I remember after my holidays, after my vacation, I was not the same anymore. I was not thinking the same way. I was not behaving the same way. I was not working the same way. I was not able to get focused on my job and anything. And I was dreaming and thinking about the cenotes. So it has been something very, very impacting for me. And today, I'm in Riviera in Playa del Carmen to share with people diving with me the impact, the same experience that I had in the past. Try to make them understand what may change my life forever.
Wow.
Wow. It has been a life-changing thing in my life, and never had the regret of quitting everything in Paris. Back home, I call it home. I used to work as an engineer. I used to work in my own company with my brother, a family company. I used to do well, but doing the cenotes has been something very, very exciting for me, and a no return point in my life.
So let's describe the experience for our listeners. So first, explain, what is a cenote to our listeners?
What is a cenote?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that a cenote is a kind of natural pool that we have in the middle of the jungle, of the Yucatan jungle. We have small cenotes, we have big cenotes, and we know that we have for about 8,000, 9,000 cenotes in the famous Yucatan Peninsula. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's get back to the description. Let's say that it's a natural pool that is filled with the fresh water of the rain, and you can get in a cenote and get out from another one, meaning that the cenotes are connected to each other. It's seen from outside. It's a kind of pond. It's a kind of small, tiny river. It's a crack where you have water inside of it, and you can get in. The water is crystal clear. It's fresh water from the rain. And another description, more technical, this tiny hole, this tiny pool is giving you the access to what we call the aquifer. The aquifer is the underground layer of water that we have all over Yucatan. Let's say that 80% of the Yucatan Peninsula, I don't know if you can see it on the map, under the ground we have like 80% of it that is filled with these passages, with this aquifer. Okay, so the cenotes are giving you the access to this layer of crystal clear water. Whenever we have a bunch of cenotes connected to each other, let's say 5, 10, 11 cenotes that are connected to each other, we call it a system. Okay, so we have the cenotes and the systems. And we don't know exactly how many systems we have, but we know that the systems as well are connected with the ocean. It means that after a certain depth, when you dive in the cenotes, you can reach the water of the Caribbean. What makes it even more interesting, because you have what we call the halocline, and thousand divers are coming every year just to experience this phenomenon, physical phenomenon, in which you're in the fresh water, and then all of a sudden, after a certain depth, you find yourself in the salty water of the Caribbean. It's amazing. It's a very, very thrilling experience. And what else about the cenotes? The geological formations here. I mean, the karstic, the limestone bedrock in which we are is making easy on a very, very, very long time periods the formation of these famous cenotes. Okay, it's like cenotes have been created by what we call the dissolution of the limestone through the million years that the Yucatan have.
Wow. I mean, just imagining this system of cenotes underground, interconnected, that you can tap into and then meet the salt water. Now, that's what's happening at Cenote on Angelita, right?
Exactly, yes.
Right.
For people having experienced it after like 27 meters, let's say 80 feet, whatever in feet, you're not in the fresh water of the rain anymore, but you get into the salted part of it.
And it's funny because for years I had seen pictures of Cenote on Angelita online by searching underwater river in Mexico, because there's like these branches at the bottom and it looks eerie and it looks like a river is underwater, but it's not.
It's not. It's not.
It's not, or it's not an underwater river.
I think that we're on the same wave. No, it's not.
Right.
It's for some of us it's a bit spooky. For some of us it's a bit spooky. For some of us it's kind of a new world of feeling yourself in a kind of movie set, horror movie set. I have a lot of people after the dive telling me that they felt in a Star Wars movie or in a horror movie, and that's what makes it even more fantastic. Because I've been diving in the ocean, obviously. We never have in the ocean such, descriptions or such a amazement from the customers. It's super, super, super different from whatever you've done. And what makes cenote diving for me even more interesting, I've been doing this for, let's say, 5 years almost. A lot of people are coming diving with us, never having experienced the cenotes. And I've seen a lot of people getting completely hooked and quitting diving in the Caribbean or in the ocean. It's not my duty, it's not my task, it's not my will, but it's very, very easy to convert, regular ocean divers to cenote divers. Well, sorry to say, no one takes it bad.
I mean, I'm not quitting ocean diving anytime soon, but I have to say the beauty of the cenotes. I mean, especially when the light rays come in and you're in this cavern and you see the lights come in. It is the most awe-invoking experience. It is incredible, jaw-dropping, makes your heart sing kind of experience.
It's a spiritual call. Whenever you're in, you feel first of all that you're small in this world. You're just like a lifespan of 70 years, whatever, and knowing that this cenote has been waiting for you for Angelita, for example, that the trees you mentioned, the clouds we will talk about has been dated like 13,000, 14,000 years ago. What are you talking about? 13,000 years for human being is a long period, but for the planet is just a glimpse of time. And just taking this in consideration, even during the dive, at any moment of the day, you're like, wow, enjoy the moment, save the moment, and know that this moment is very, very, very unique. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think many times people think, oh, when we travel to Mexico, it's just going to be crowded, people everywhere. But being in a cenote, you're not among the crowds, especially if you're diving in a
Mhm.
cenote. It's not this crowded uh, Disney World experience. It is you're putting tanks on, you're going underwater, you are leaving it, you're leaving that view from up above. When you're in the ocean, you can just look up and see that you can easily get out right there. But the cenotes they can keep on going for a
Yes,
long time. You could be in a cenote and um, it's a whole nother experience when you're in the dark and you turn on the light.
it's a whole other experience, as you said, as well for the logistic of it. We're not in the ocean. We meet at the hotel. We're having a ride for 1 hour in which we're explaining about the cenotes, the geology, how they have been created, how they have been formed, how do they influence the local economy, how they are sacred for the Mayans. And then you find yourself in the middle of the jungle with the birds, with the animals. Sometimes we can spot monkeys, and then you gear up in the middle of the trees. And the people are so amazed and so curious. Where do we dive? Where do we dive? Where is the cenote? And then when they see the cenote for the first time of my life, it's like, it doesn't look like the pictures. No, it doesn't look like the pictures. The pictures, they don't make justice. That's why you're here. And after having done the technical, the safety briefing, the security briefing, because we care safety first, of course, about the safety, we're getting in the cenotes, and I can tell for sure, like me, a lot of persons are completely changing their perspective about diving and even vacation. I mean, people having dove the cenotes, they're like, okay, next year we know that we're going to come back again because we plan like to stay 3 days. 3 days is not enough. Next time, let's stay 1 week or whatever. And we have a lot of people coming and coming and coming again, collecting the cenotes. As you said, you've done this one. Next time I want to do this one, because we have a bunch of cenotes and people are like very, very eager to see all of them. So it's a kind of a bucket list.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, let's talk about this list. So I got
please.
to dive cenotes for a few days, but I want to know, what are your top 4 favorite cenotes to dive?
You're asking to me as a full cave diver, doing this every day. The choice is very, very difficult for me, but I will do it for you. But I would like you to know that whenever, let's say that you come as a first experience in the cenotes, the first thing that I'm going to ask you is, how do you feel underwater? How many dives do you have? What's your certification level? Are you a bit apprehensive? Do you have a bit of fear? Do you have a bit of anxiety? Because it's not for everyone to be able to be relaxed, to feel like very, very comfortable in the overall environment first. Okay, so
Right.
we have kamikaze divers and we have people that are a bit like reticent.
Mm-hmm.
And a cenote that I may like, you may not like it. So that's why we have a ride for 1 hour in which I'm asking people what do they like most. Some of them are coming for the lights. Some of them are coming for the thrill. Some of them are coming, to experience the adventure of getting in a other environment for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever. And that's why I try to, I've been working with the big shops
Mm-hmm.
in which they don't really care, or they don't take time to ask you what do you want to do, what do you want to
Mm-hmm.
do, and what
Mm-hmm.
kind of dive do you like most. Okay, so that's the first thing that I do whenever I have someone on WhatsApp, on the phone. What do you want to do? What
Yeah.
will you like? Have you ever seen pictures of cenotes? Yes. What did you like the most? They're going to tell you the lights. Okay, so let's go in a place where we have the lights. Oh, I've seen people with tanks getting through very, very small passages. Okay, let's do this one. And I try to pick up my cenotes in function of the people I'm diving with. So it's
Sure.
very, very important for me.
Well, let's do a little role playing here. I'm going to tell
Okay.
you how I like to dive, and I want to hear your recommendations here.
Okay. And then I'll tell you what are my favorite cenotes.
Okay, okay, it sounds
I
fun.
swear. I swear.
Okay, okay. So I like adventure. I
Okay.
like I enjoy seeing the light rays come in. I think that's a magical spiritual experience. I'm very comfortable night diving, love being in the dark. Um, I embrace it. It doesn't give me anxiety. Um, am I wanting a place where I need to take off all my gear and fit it into a small space? No.
No,
Like
we don't do
like
this.
I'm not yeah, I'm not
No, we don't do this.
yeah.
We
But
don't do
I
this.
love the idea of going through like a new adventure and going on a journey and experiencing the architecture of the cave and seeing something I've never seen before.
Okay. Are you available tomorrow?
No.
Now, why am
No,
I
but
asking?
maybe yeah, why? Why do you
That's
ask?
very important because more than everyone here as a guide, and that's the way we are all the guides here working in Riviera Maya. The summer is coming. I mean, you've been talking about the pits. The
Mhm.
pit in January is not the pit in July.
Uh-huh.
The pit is not my first suggestion when I have someone talking about the lights when they're coming in January. So for me, being an engineer, cenote diving is like engineering. It's a light engineering. It's to be at the right place at the right moment. So that's why I'm asking. We're role playing, right?
Right.
If you want to dive and if you want to see this tomorrow, come and join me in Taj Mahal. Cenote Taj Mahal is the most adventurous, the most thrilling, and the most, how to say, it's like watching a movie, chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, because we start in a very, very bright place where we have the light beams enchanting you, and you're like, wow, it's a cathedral of light. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in a very, very like narrow tunnel bringing you to another place. Meanwhile, you have the yellow line and the blurriness of it. You're like, I better follow the guide. Okay. And then reaching another room where you have the rays of light hitting the surface with the diffraction effect, where the lights are not beams anymore but are curtains of light. And seeing this under the water, being in the complete darkness, is like, wow, I've never seen this before. And then going to another room where we pop up in a cenote. It's not the one that we have started, telling the people that, wow, we got in a cenote, we got from another one. They're like, wow, we did it, we crossed the underground, we did it. Okay. And then ask them to equalize again before restarting the dive and getting in a place where you have, I don't know, the colors of the nature through the surface, the colors of the lights, the outline, the blurriness of it, the feeling. Sometimes the water is salty, sometimes the water is fresh. You have to change your buoyancy control because the fresh and the salted water, they don't have the same buoyancy, obviously. For us it's obvious, but you may know it. It's not that you don't know it, but if no one tells you this, you will feel like struggling with the buoyancy. Even experienced people, they're like, wow, I had a hard time with the buoyancy. Why? Because as well during the dive, the buoyancy control is changing. We're talking to divers, so they're going to understand what I mean. And then after having done a 15-minute dive, you're like, wow, is it finished? Where do we go next? It's you know what? The most difficult thing, and even for me every day, is I think that we're missing words. We're missing like vocabulary to explain what we're experiencing, because it's not only lights. It's even now I can find the words to make the people listening us, or maybe they're going to think that I'm crazy or my vocabulary is missing. But no, it's you should see it by your eyes. You should see it by your eyes. It's a life-changing experience.
It truly is. This is not an everyday experience. I mean, maybe for you it is now, but
Still
it's
not. Still not. still, still not. And that's what I'm saying. I missed diving in Taj Mahal. Why? Because we were in the winter, the lights were missing, and even our briefings are changing. So if you're going to the pit or if you're going Taj Mahal in January, it's still beautiful. I'm not trying to compare or criticize or, but it's not the same. So the other day, like 3 weeks ago, when the lights have started reappearing again in some places of Taj Mahal, you could have seen me under, you should have seen me under the water. I was like shivering, and I've seen people crying on this, viewing, seeing what happened, and they're like, wow, I've seen something. What was it? It was light, but how come the light gets in a dark place like this? And you have like in the ceiling, you have tiny holes that are allowing the beams of light getting in, and it's very, very spectacular. You will see on the postcard, of course, I share a lot of pictures where we see this super light. It's very, very nice.
So what is your favorite cenote by season?
Let's start with the summer.
All right.
Okay.
Summer.
The summer, being, I won't say an experienced diver, being a guide. If you really like the geology, if you really like the history of the planet, if you really like the stalactites, the stalagmites, all the crystals, all the different shape, all the, when you know how to comment it as well. When you look around and you see a stalactite and you see that the stalactite have been growing for a million years, 1,000 years, whatever, depends on the situation. And you know that the stalactite is growing like 1 centimeter every 100 years, 150 years. And when you look around and you have like tons and tons and tons of stalactites, for me, it's the most fascinating thing ever. Really feeling like this planet was here like billion years ago. Okay. What I like the most in summer, it's not, maybe you will expect me to say the pit, but it's a cenote that we call Dreamgate. Dreamgate is a cenote that is, to be honest with you, for experienced people, for experienced divers that have a good trim, good buoyancy control, and you shouldn't be at all claustrophobic, okay? Because it's very, very dark. And it's the cenote in which we get very, very in the narrow tunnels. We don't see the light for about 45 minutes. And for some of us, that may be something very, very, demanding and very, very new. But it's worth the 45 minutes in the darkness, because wherever you look, it's miraculous. And why during the summer? Because the entrance and the exits of Dreamgate, whenever we still have the lights, are just like hypnotizing. You just stay, you hover diver's nose, and you can spend like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. It means like 10% of the dive, whatever, 5% on the dive, just looking at the exit. And you don't want to exit. That's it. And you're looking at your SPG and you're like, I want to stay.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small cenote. It's a bit in the jungle. It's a quite a short ride, but very, very nice, because you will feel as well that you're in off the beaten tracks. It's you're not into anymore the Riviera Maya with all the fancy shops, all the big resorts. You're really in the jungle, and it's not a place that is very frequented. When you get there, you're like, wow, this is a real experience. This is not something commercial. This is not, even though you know that a lot of people have done this before you still feel like, wow, I'm like an explorer and I'm going to discover something new. Dreamgate on my top list.
All right. That was an amazing description.
You can find the description on the link, the Cenote Guy /Dreamgate. You can read and have a lot of pictures. Okay. If we have people wondering what I'm talking about.
Great. And I'll include that on the show notes on Experiences That You Should Have podcast. So let's move into fall.
Fall. It's a surprise maybe for people listening to me and diving cenotes frequently. It's car wash. Car wash is a cenote that is near to to Tulum. It's not a place where you can have a lot the experience of getting in a real cavern where you have a already environment during the whole life, but it's much more like a pond Okay, and why I like the cenote more than the others in fall is that during the rainy season, let's say October, August, September, October, whatever, the rainy season is like 1 month and a half here in Riviera, and we have like showers, very very heavy rains. Okay, like showers for 1 hour,
Mm-hmm.
and everywhere is like flooded. In a couple of seconds, you can see that the water is swallowing the lands, swallowing the, and then because we have showers, it's short, and the rest of the day is very very sunny still. So whenever we have heavy rain like this in the jungle, in the vegetation, we have an acid, a vegetal acid that we call the tannic acid. Okay, that is in the leaves, in the roots, in the branches, in the vegetation. Okay, and when we have these heavy showers, it's like the trees are literally washed from this acid. Okay, this is an acid as well that we use in agriculture, in the food industry. And when this tannic acid is leaking, is getting in the water of the cenotes, in the crystal clear water of the cenotes, this acid stays on the surface because it's a light acid. Okay, and the more this acid is concentrated, sorry for your patience, and the more this acid is getting red on the surface. So the water of the cenotes, being blue in winter, are getting like red, brown in this period of the year. Okay, and as it gets dissolved, this tannic acid is passing from red to brown, from brown to yellow, from yellow to green, and then dissolving. It means that at certain time of the year, car wash, with the powerful light of the noon hitting the surface of the water, the light beams are broken, the diffraction effects, and you can see the 7 colors of the rainbow in the water. So it's like being in a place where you look up, the water is red. You look a bit like with a different angle, the water is orange. You look at the beam of your flashlight is yellow. It's wow, it's being under drugs. Whoa. It's don't you censor it. It's like being under the effect of something completely different. It's a drug for me, to be honest. Diving every day make me an addict of cenote diving, but it's something I can share pictures with you, and I will. The color of the water is insane. It's you are in a world where the colors are just, you're in a rainbow. Like, it's not seeing the rainbow in the sky, it's being in the rainbow. Whenever you turn your head, you will see that the color of the water is changing. And being a pond and having a lot of light entrance, it's a magical place. It's a magical place. How come last year we were in the COVID period still, and I remember having done 8 days in a row the cenote car wash.
Yeah.
People were like, I heard from my friend that the cenote pit was very nice. No, sorry to say, shut up. Today we're going to car wash. And the people were like, I've never heard about it. You're sure? Oh, this guy is trying to. No. And diving car wash, at the end of the day, they were like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. And, you can this way convince the people that you really love what you do. And, sharing these moments with them, it is making the experience even more like, wow, incredible. That's what I like the most in the cenote. It's not diving on my own and enjoy the lights, but it's whenever, even through the mask, even through the regs, you see that the people expression changing and smiling and almost laughing, and the euphoria on their face. It's what I like the most. That's what I do. It's a car wash fall. It's my place to be. It's a world-class dive.
I love it. Okay, let's move on to winter.
Winter, summer, fall, pit, doesn't matter. Sorry, spring, doesn't matter. Angelita. 365 days a year. Angelita is Angelita. Angelita is the place that doesn't matter if it's rainy, if it's cold, windy, it's Angelita. And what we like the most in Angelita is that it's the ability of this cenote to give to every kind of diver experienced new claustrophobic goosebumps and fascination. When you get in the water and you don't know what to expect, you're like, wow, this place is just incredible. It's an unforgettable experience. The one you mentioned, with the cloud and at the beginning of the podcast,
yes.
where we,
yes,
it's this one is the must. Angelita is one of my favorites this way.
That cenote was on my bucket list for a long time, and that was the first cenote that I dove, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah, 300.
It was truly amazing, and
the words are missing. The words are missing. I'm challenging you.
I know. And it essentially just goes straight down and then straight back up. It's not you're not lost in a tunnel underwater. You go down, but and what do you call it? Is the halocline?
Yeah, the halocline.
The halocline. Yes, and that's where the salt water meets the fresh water. It creates this cloud, and then you can go into it. And when you're in it, it feels like you're skydiving underwater in a cloud.
Exactly. It's the cloud for people listening us is a kind of dissolved gas that is in the water, and that is that thick at a certain depth that we have literally a carpet of cotton, let's say. Okay, and when you get in, the carpet of cotton is swallowing you, and all of a sudden, my diver has disappeared. Where are you? Where are you? I know that you're down. I see your bubbles. It's very, very interesting. It's a weird feeling, and as well, if even though you may be ready for the moment, it's still something that we can explain like 100 times. You have to experience it and really see how particular is it. It's a very nice moment. It's a very, very nice moment.
It is, and I remember it being a fairly very easy dive. It just felt. It didn't feel like it was a challenging technical dive.
It is not challenging, but I wouldn't dare. To be honest with you, I wouldn't dare doing Angelita with a freshly certified open water, not having experienced a night dive or different things even that we have in the ocean. And because it's a place where statistically we have the probability of people freaking out, not a life-threatening situation, but just wow, it's too much for me. I don't like it. The cloud, we have too much parameters making the dive unsure and unsafe and unenjoyable. So that's why I rather dive in Angelita with people I've been diving with before, and it's not the first cenote I would suggest to someone never having done diving the cenotes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why.
Well, let's move on to spring.
Spring. The pit, finally. You got me. Yeah, the pit.
I got to be a mermaid in the pit.
Yeah, the pit is. I understand what you mean. It's another place. It's a cathedral. It's a place where you are connected directly to another world. It's a place where for a 45-minute time you're not here. You've just been traveling back and forth to the moon, to another planet, wherever you want. But this place doesn't belong to planet Earth. Okay, it's taking from you this 45 minutes where you're like, okay, I'm back to planet Earth. That's what I like the most. The pit itself is a very, very tiny cenote. Okay, it belongs to the System dos Osos. We're talking about the systems. The System dos Osos is the biggest in the world. We have for about 360 kilometers of calories accumulated. I think it's more or less 190 miles. I don't know exactly in miles. Sorry, my French. It's 360 kilometers, whatever, the biggest in the world. And it's a place where at a certain period of the year, the light of the sun is having an angle that is almost perpendicular. It means that when you're in the dark part of the pit, in front of you, you're seeing the, how do you say, the keyboard of a piano. The lights, the diffraction of the lights, the curtains of lights are just dancing, and it's a moment to say in the way that, wow, you will never see this again wherever you go in the world. You can go, in the north to see the, how do we call it?
The Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
It's different. You will not see the beauty of this place anywhere else in the world. It's copyrighted. It's the pit. I've heard people telling, how many dives do you have? I have 65 dives and the pits. Okay, and now you understand that. Well, the pit is not a dive. It's, I have, how many dives do you have? 80 dives and the pits. And then you're like, wow, this guy is kidding. This guy is serious, but you understand what it means. What it means, yeah. It's a
pit is amazing.
It's amazing.
It is stunning. When you turn around and you see those light rays, it's life changing. It's life changing.
Don't be jealous. I did it yesterday.
My goodness!
You got me. I got you now. I've done it yesterday, and as I told you, we're freshly enjoying the new angles, and we're freshly enjoying this perpendicularity of the lights. That is for us new in a way that we were missing it. And I had a special request of someone willing to make the dive private, and I say, okay, let's do it. And I gave to this guy, I hope he's going to listen to us. I was like, let's do it differently. Without worrying about the deco, instead of diving with an 80 cc, I gave him a 100 cc. It means like 25% more of orgasmic dive. we stood for about 1 hour in the pits. And after having done the regular, circuit of it, we were just hovering and waiting for our tanks to finish. It's a moment in which I guess I was even happier than he was. Yeah. It's different.
Well, I went and dove. This trip was amazing for me when I went. It was the first trip I took away from my daughter after she was born. And so that was just a weird change to be able to leave your baby and just take a trip to see something new. And I went and dove the cenotes with some friends and my husband, and just to be taken into this experience and see these light rays and see the world from a new perspective. I just can't. It was amazing. It was amazing. And then afterwards, me and a girlfriend put on mermaid tails, and our friend is a fencer, so he brought us like fencing swords, and so we did like mermaids fencing underwater in the pits. I don't know. It was fun. It was just a day of fun, and I feel like it's those moments in life are the ones that really just stick out, that, just those days that you will never forget. And that's exactly. A day I will never forget.
Exactly. And it's, I know it because I know the power of the cenotes. I know the power it had on me changing my life. And I've seen a lot of people that have been completely converted, diving in the cenotes, changing their life, coming in the Riviera Maya, doing their full cave diving certification and so on. It has a seal. Boom. It's a seal. Pit is a unique moment in your life that you will never forget. Never.
Yeah. Wow. Well, let's get to some logistics here.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's tell our listeners, where is Riviera Maya, and how do you get there to come dive the cenotes?
Riviera Maya it's not a region officially. It's a place that is known as being the, let's say, the northeast coast of Yucatan,
Okay.
from Cancun up to technically Chetumal. That is the southest city in Yucatan. It's the beachfront.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where you have the white sands, where you have the jungle connected directly to the ocean, where we have no mountains, we have the mangrove. It's a super welcoming, let's say, beach, because all the way for about 200 kilometers we have the beach welcoming millions and millions and millions of tourists every year. So it's mostly, when you think about the Riviera Maya, it's Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, let's say, and the small cities, tiny towns between. Okay, how to get it? The easiest and fastest way, especially from the States, is Cancun. Cancun is one of the biggest airports in the world, I guess. I mean, at least of South America.
Mm-hmm.
And the logistic is very, very easy. It's from Cancun.
Right. And what are the current COVID-19 restrictions there? We are recording this in essentially almost April of 2021.
Mm-hmm. It's I'm not into politics. I'm not an official health agent.
Sure.
But it's the COVID, the trend, the nowadays, the past like few weeks, is that COVID doesn't exist in Mexico. People coming here, they're like, okay, we're in Mexico, we're safe, in the way that it's people struggling in the States, people being under very, very hard restrictions, people being under very, very hard, way of living that no one of us is very, very used to. Coming in Mexico, they can feel the freedom of doing things that we've not been doing for 1 year, things that we miss. And we have this nostalgia that we see in people's coming in Riviera Maya. Okay, we wear the mask, yes. We keep the social distance, yes. The restaurants have some rules and very strict rules to respect, yes. But it's different in the way that the mindset is different. The restrictions are here, but they are light. I mean, it's much more for respect that you're wearing a mask than because it's a restriction and you will get caught and you will have like a severe misery finding yourself in the jail. I'm a bit exaggerating, but it's easy. For me. On a daily basis, I'm wearing my mask every day, especially when I meet the people in the morning. I do not shake hands. In my car, I have the gel, I have the air sanitizer. We try to keep the social distance. Back in time, I was diving with only two people to make it even more like credible. But now, no one is wearing the mask in my car, and if no one wear the mask, there is no sense for me to wear it as well. But sometimes we have people very, very keen on keeping the mask. I keep my mask. It's the same everywhere. You have the freedom to choose whether yes or no you want to have the mask, or you want to follow the rules that are not dictated. Okay. The hotel capacities are somewhat limited still by the Secretary of Health, the institutions. But it's let's say that the COVID period in people's mind is over. I don't know if I'm making friends or making enemies.
All right. Well, let's just see. Well, let's talk about skills and certifications needed to dive the cenotes.
Okay, just before this, it's something that we are again something in which we're, let's say, fighting every day. It's when you talk about the cenotes, people are thinking about very, very dark places, very, very confined places, place where you can get stuck, place where you can die, whatever. There is something that I would like to mention, if if you let
Yeah.
like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What we do, it's cavern diving. We have cavern diving and cave diving, two activities that we're practicing in the Cenotes. Cavern diving is only and only for recreational divers, people with open water advanced rescue certification, mostly for people doing this for vacation, like you did once upon a time. Okay.
Yep.
And we have something that we call cave diving. Cave diving is something more serious, something that needs a lot of certification, a lot of time, a lot of involvement. And you should have the full cave diving certification to get in the cave. Okay. In fact, the cavern is the entrance of the cave. So for people listening to us, don't be afraid about getting stuck. Don't be afraid about getting in a place where you will not see anything. It's cavern diving. It's safe in the way that we have a lot of rules. The standards are very, very high. Okay, we have 3 rules that we respect during the wall dive. First of all, you should be certified. Open water is welcome to dive with us. And then depends on your skill, depends on your level. We may suggest different cenotes. Okay, but 3 rules to respect. During the wall dive, you will be able by yourself to see where is the light, where is the exit, where is the natural light of the sun. We never bring our place. We never bring our divers in places where they get to be disoriented and not being able to see where is the exit. Okay? Diving in the cenotes is all about prevention. Let's say that something happened to the guide during the dive. At any moment with your open water skills, you'll be able to leave, to quit the environment. Okay? That's very, very important to know. That's what we call the daylight limit. The second rule, any question? No?
Nope, no questions.
Okay. The second rule is the one that we call the penetration limit, telling us that at any moment of the dive, we're never further than 60 meters, 200 feet from the nearest practicable exit. It means that it can happen. It's all about prevention. If we have an issue with you, we're able to quit the environment within 60 meters. Okay, for the cenotes that we have mentioned, most of them are even more like easy in the way that the exit, the imminent exit is like 25 meters away, 75 feet away from you. Okay, so whenever you're combining the first and the second rule, I see that the exit is this way, and I know that I'm not very, very, very far away from the exit. It's supposed to give you more confidence to enjoy your dive without worrying about where do we go, where it's getting dark, it's getting tight, whatever. Okay, and the last rule, it's the one that we call the restriction rule, telling us that we're not allowed during a cavern dive to get in places where you may find yourself confined, where you may find yourself in a very, very narrow place. We don't practice tunnels. We don't practice very, very small places. We're always staying within big rooms, big chambers, big passages, big galleries. And during the dive, at any moment, you feel yourself in a very, very, very tight place. Okay, we don't do this. So it was, I think, to mention, cavern diving is very safe, it's very secure, it's very regulated. And it's an activity in which we have, let's say, no accidents since 2016.
Fantastic. That's
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. Now, how would someone...
The skills.
Oh, yes.
The skills. You have to have a good buoyancy control.
Uh-huh.
If you want to do the dream gate, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But let's say that you're a freshly certified open water divers and you may have to practice a bit your buoyancy. We have a lot of cenotes in which you can, having less than 10 dives, enjoy your time without worrying with your skills. Okay, the buoyancy control is needed. A good trim is required. The good trim is, is the horizontal position the diver has, and that's it. It's not very. It's not a challenging dive for. Someone diving in the ocean, having like 10 dives, 15 dives in the ocean, the cenotes is the cherry on the cherry on the cake. It's super easy. We're not very exigent on divers' skills. Mm-hmm. We adapt the environment or the cenote to our divers anyway.
So what about maybe divers with limited mobility or adaptive divers? Can they come dive the cenotes if they're certified?
Yes, if they're certified, yes. Fortunately, most of the cenotes are arranged this way. So we have like platforms, we have like places for people with a limited, how do you say in French,
limited mobility?
Limited mobility, yes. Mm-hmm. And it's something that we can do. For myself, whenever I have someone with this limited mobility, I rather automatically suggest to do a private dive. It's on one-on-one. You should know that cenote diving is limited to 4 persons per guide. Okay, in the ocean we can take up to 7, 8 persons as instructors, as guide, as dive masters, but the cenotes is limited to 4 for the safety and for the comfort of the divers. But whenever people with limited mobility, that's my opinion. That's the way I do it.
Yeah.
Being the cenote guy, I make the dive private. So we have as well the certification for it. We have a special requirement that we have, and that's it. Yes, they're more than welcome.
Now, how would someone book you as a guide?
I have a website, and I decided like years ago when doing this project to be an online shop. I don't have a physical shop. I don't have a place where you can visit me. I don't have a place where you can sit and fill your paper. The contact is done by WhatsApp. The contact is done by phone. The contact is done via the online website. You can directly book. I try to make it as easy as I can. You can reach me by messenger. The approach that I want to create with the people is, contacting a friend. I'm going to Riviera Maya. WhatsApp, and getting in WhatsApp, you have this, the distance broken. Hi. I want to dive tomorrow. Okay, what's your certification level? Okay, let's do it. We don't have something formal. We don't have like papers to fill. We don't have like, this. It's like ordering pizza. It's okay, vamos.
Right.
Okay, and once the contact is established, we have an online waiver that is filled. I'm obviously checking that all my divers are certified and they have their certification with them, or they can at least send me a picture of it. And then once the logistic is established, we go diving.
All right. And that's the cenoteguy.com for our listeners. Yes. So go to the cenoteguy.com and book your amazing cenote trip. Okay, but let's talk costs. How much does it cost to go dive the cenotes with you?
The cost, the more I dive, the more I'm happy. Keeping my price high, I'm going to make me dive less. So I try to have a politic in which the prices are reachable, affordable. I'm including the gear in the service. That is very important for me, I guess, because people, it's very, very hard to travel with all your gear, and sometimes people are not expecting to dive, and they're finding themselves in Riviera Maya, and they know that, and they learn that diving is something amazing here. So the gear are included. And what I've decided to do, it's an approach that is a bit different from the other shops, is that I have a price for my service, including the guidance, the gear, the logistic, the transport, the food, the lunch, and everything. But you pay for the entrance of the cenote, knowing that the cenotes are privately owned, and each cenote has its own price. So I'm not doing a package in which the cenote price is included. I am like, okay, you're ready to pay that much for my service? You want to do the pit? The pit is a bit more expensive than Angelita, let's say, an example.
Yeah.
And if you really want to do the pit, so you will have to pay the difference, making the price, my price, the service price is independent from the cenote that you may choose.
So, and what's your price?
Sorry?
And what's your price?
It's a base of 120 US, including everything from Playa del Carmen or for 2. Okay, and it's for a couple of dives, 2 dives.
Beautiful.
2 dives of 45 minutes minimum each.
All right. And what is the tipping policy, or tipping, not policy, but what's the average tip that people tip?
I was not expecting this one. Critical. It's 10%, 20%. The biggest tip is your smile on the face at the end of the day. Really, wow, that's the best gratification ever.
Beautiful.
Knowing that you're happy is the best tip ever.
And now, for our listeners, there might be some non-divers, and maybe they're going to be in the area and they want to snorkel some cenotes. Do you have any recommendations?
Yes, I have recommendations. I have a lot of calls, being the cenote guy, People are thinking that I'm an expert in everything. No, I'm not. But I like to I like to help. We have a Cenote dos, that is world famous. That is big, where the swimming area, the snorkeling area is huge. That is once again very, very accessible for everyone, even with people with limited mobility. And it's a place where the logistic as well is easy. Okay, it's Dosos. You will hear it anyway when you come here. We have Cenote Eden, that is closer to Playa del Carmen. That is super nice, super welcoming, where you're in the jungle, listening to the birds, swimming with the turtles, where the water is fresh. It's like 78, 77 Fahrenheit. So it's no cold nor warm. It's perfect for the jungle and to refresh. And we have Cenote, a Grand Cenote, that is closer to Tulum. That is a place only and only for snorkelers. We don't dive there. We don't cavern dive there. We don't cave dive there. It's a Grand Cenote is exclusively for snorkelers and swimmers.
Wow. Yeah, I dove it back in 2015 or 2016, but I guess people aren't diving it anymore.
Grand Cenote?
Yeah.
No, Grand Cenote is not diveable anymore. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Wow, you are a wealth of information here. This has truly been amazing. Do you have anything else you want to add to our listeners before we go?
Thank you very much. You should do it. It's coming to Riviera Maya, snorkeling, diving, swimming, or just walking by is the most spectacular thing that you can do. Is where you really feel that you're in contact with the jungle, with the nature. That's what made me falling in love with Mexico. I'm living for the cenotes. I'm living for the cenotes. It became my office, I'm proud to say. It's very, very nice. Yeah. I mean, don't you come to Playa del Carmen, Tulum, Riviera Maya without spending at least 1 day, 2 days in the cenotes. It's very, very nice.
I will be back. I promise.
Yes. I know that you will be back.
Fantastic. Well, truly, thank you for your time today.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Been amazing. It's a pleasure. And hopefully I will see you in a cenote later this year or next.
Let's do Dream Gate together.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, deal. You're my guests. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for listening to Experiences You Should Have. I hope this episode has inspired you to go and explore underground in the cenotes. So please check out Aiden's site, thecenoteguy.com. You can hit him up on WhatsApp. His information is there. I also link to it in the show notes on Experiences You Should Have if you want to book a private diving experience of the cenotes. This will be an experience you will never forget. It's one of those experiences that you can just go back to in your mind and replay. And I don't know. I mean, I still think about those moments being inside the pit and watching the light rays come down and just having this moment of peace in this underwater cavern. And it really is life-changing. Seriously. I know people are starting to book some travel now. We're thinking about the future. Add this to your bucket list, especially if you are a diver and love new experiences. This will not disappoint. So thank you for listening. If you love this show, please review us on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, please. And if you love diving, we have so many diving episodes on this podcast. I love everything about the water, whether your jam is being with thousands of mobula rays or blackwater diving or diving with tiger sharks or or wreck diving in Vanuatu. There's the SS President Coolidge that we discuss on that interview. We have diving the Galapagos. We have a plethora of diving episodes, as I love diving. And we also have skydiving if you want to leave a plane or a hot air balloon or skydive Everest. We've got you. But maybe you're a trekker and you're into hiking. Go check out the Appalachian Trail episode, or hiking the Te Araroa in New Zealand. We have you covered here. Check it out for unique, amazing experiences around the world. Thanks again for listening, and until our next adventure.